photon in a double slit experiment, reads Sushant Singh Rajput's Twitter bio, subtly hinting at the dual nature of omnipresent matter. But now, I feel Sushant was a wave, oscillatory in motion, prone to periodic crests and troughs in the form of highs and lows. I watched an interview of him where he used the comparison of the speed of sound and speed of light to articulate his response. I think he said something along the lines of, because of the speed of light being faster than that of sound, you can see my facial expressions before you can hear my response, and mirror your reaction based on that. I saw the interviewer a little befuddled, obviously not used to such an analogy by a film actor. An inquisitive mind engineered for exploring the unknown, Sushant was the only actor whose words stayed with me even after his interviews ended. I wondered how this brilliant genius had stumbled into this delusional world of merciless Bollywood. A man of few words, Sushant often felt misunderstood by shallow people who weren't capable of understanding him. Limited in terms of their intellectual capacities, definitely disabled in the intelligence quotient. I remember another interview for the movie Kedarnath where Sushant explained the difference between correlation and causality. The floods were not a direct cause of Mukku's rebellion, they were a correlation. He further stated, correlation should not be confused with causality. It's important to differentiate between the two. I took a mental note of the same. I come from a scientific background and I worked in epidemiological research where we try to estimate direct causal inference between a cause and disease. At times, we also make the mistake of interchanging correlations with causations. Instantly, I knew Sushant spoke the language of science, but the irony was, people could hardly understand him. Since then, I was regularly watching all of his interviews just to get a glimpse into his scientific mind. He talked about the redundancy of current teaching methods in schools. We are training these kids for something we know hardly of. We don't know what technology the future brings. So let's concentrate on building emotional quotient. And with the advent of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, Sushant was right. But who was listening amongst all the noise? Sushant Singh Rajput was labelled a misfit. Different was the word people used to describe him to get out of sticky situations. He is different. Different than what? Different than the breed of pretentious superficial gossip mongers that exist in the film industry? Well, that part wasn't clear. Just different. It didn't take very long for the audience to notice that as well. He was different. A weird, amicable version of a star who was completely down to earth and not swayed by frivolous joys. Someone who used a telescope to escape into far-sighted space instead of being stuck in the pettiness of a myopic world. It was certainly refreshing. Nobody could have argued that Sushant wasn't loved by his fans. And their love was reciprocated by him. He made it a point to interact with them on a personal level. He replied to their comments, donated money on their behalf, even followed them on social media. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say his fans knew him much more than this apparent fraternity he was a part of, so to speak. Art cannot be quantified, he often said, but now I wonder if he did the mistake of quantifying it or was forced to participate in the numbers game. When asked in an interview about how he handles toxic gossip of being a womanizer, Sushant gave yet another profound reply. He stated that when Marie Curie had won a Nobel Prize and was criticized by many for being a woman, Einstein had sent her a letter advising her to measure the length of the insults. So that's what I do. I take a ruler and I measure the length of these stories. I feel Sushant should have measured the size of their brains, not insults. Although some of them came without it. Manufacturing defect, I suppose. What a world we live in. Having intelligence is mocked, almost looked down upon. But cute stupidity gets a stamp of publicity and so many awes. What's worse is that it's the people who are intelligent who have an inferiority complex instead of those with a lack of it. Because the brilliant minds are misfits in a fake world that defiantly wants to be stubbornly stupid. Sometimes I also make the mistake of trying to make sense of senseless things happening to me. But then life isn't a calculated maths equation. There are confounders and outliers. Dumb, noisy movies getting rave reviews, then silent masterpieces. I hope, Sushant, you didn't measure the level of your undiluted talent with these dumbfounded theories of some of high school dropouts. You were way too precious. We needed people like you. In the latest interview I saw, he was wearing a Schrödinger smiley t-shirt depicting a sad, happy face. Well, we are sorry we couldn't crack the code. I'm sorry I never let you know how much you really affected me. We came from similar backgrounds and I used to watch your movies avidly, always floored by your performances. And yet, I never shared my reviews with you. Maybe it wouldn't really have made a difference, but now, I would never get my moment with Sushant. I wonder if his future would have been different if he had just ventured into space-time continuum of science instead of the bottomless black hole of Bollywood. But then, we would never have known him as an actor. As someone said, if your IQ is above a certain number, life is pretty much unbearable. Sushant, may you find the true meaning of life using quantum physics and your genius mind. And please, when you do, don't forget to tell us.